Hey there everybody, Melanie Nelson here, international trainer, entrepreneur. Currently my husband and I are working on our second book, very excited about that. So this is part 2 of goals. So let's review what I talked about in part 1 really quickly. So there's really 2 types of goals, and one of them is realistic goals. When you look at them, you're like, not a problem, can totally do that. And then there's big, ginormous goals that feel really pie in the sky, that kind of scare the poop out of you. And both types of goals elicit a certain response in certain people. So some people don't care about realistic goals. It doesn't do anything for them. It doesn't inspire them, doesn't motivate them, doesn't want to make them move forward. And then vice versa for the big, ginormous goals. Sometimes that causes people to shut down and do nothing at all. It needs to be realistic in order for them to feel it's possible. So the truth is that both kinds of goal setting work for me specifically. So with realistic goal setting, I did that with building businesses because for me, going to a 6 or 7 figures from nothing was too overwhelming, and I needed to break it down to daily, weekly, monthly steps that were very doable. Big ginormous goals. Where that really worked for me was when I signed up for a triathlon, my very first triathlon. I was an adult. I was not athletic growing up. Turns out I have a very athletic body type. In fact, I was genetically tested and I have the genome of many world-class athletes. All those gym teachers, eat your heart out, who told me I could never be athletic. Anyway, I was always the smallest in the class, so I never got picked for any sports or anything like that. I'm definitely not into team sports. So don't put me on your baseball team or your soccer team. That is not where I excel. However, I do love being active and athletic now, which is quite funny. So as an adult, I signed up for a triathlon. And I did not know how to swim. I quit swimming lessons as a child, right? I had not ridden a bike since junior high. I went from 0 to working out 6 to 9 times a week. I went and got up at the crack of dawn, literally 4:30 in the morning. It wasn't even dawn because it was winter in Canada. So it was like ridiculously dark at 4:30 in the morning to be in the pool, jumping in the pool at 5:45 a.m. 3 times a week. Because the goal was so big, it scared the poop out of me and I better get to work. Right? I was just like, oh my gosh, I haven't swam since I was a little teeny kid, and I quit swimming lessons because I sucked at it. Hadn't been on a bike since junior high. It was so big, it was so scary that I was like all in 110% and accomplished my goal. Did a bunch of triathlon sprints, had a ton of fun, got really fit, and so both goal settings have worked for me in different arenas. So, but now let's talk about actually setting a goal and a plan for action, because this is also the thing where people break down. Goals end up being, for most people, hopes, wishes, and prayers. And, they just never come to fruition. And don't get me wrong, I have actually hit, of all the goals I've set, I actually have hit very few of them, but I just keep setting them. I just keep setting goals. I just keep doing it. And obviously there's times where I feel discouraged. There's obviously times I consider quitting on something I set my mind to. It's not that I don't feel that way. It's just that I don't let it stop me from setting a goal and going for it again. Okay, so the first thing when setting goals or making an action plan is that you need to determine your level of commitment. Okay, this is really big. Here's the truth. You ready for it? It's probably going to piss you off. Anything less than 10, as far as 1 out of 10 commitment, expect delays. Expect that you are not going to keep your word or your agreements with yourself or the plan you set forth. That it's going to take you longer than you anticipated. So just know that. What is your level of commitment truly to something? Now, level 10 is you don't flip and stop. You put the blinders on and you don't stop till you get there, and it doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter if it's the flippin' second global flood and somebody else is building Noah's Ark. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're getting it done. You have a level 10, right? Anything less than that, just have some expectations that this isn't actually that important to you, that other things are going to be more important, and you will use them as excuses not to hit this goal. So you just need to be really realistic about that. Time. Honestly, if you're setting an action plan, anyway, what, less than 10%? Really, guys? Okay, so time. Book it in your calendar, folks, like a doctor's appointment. Okay, you don't not go to doctor's appointments, right? You put it in your calendar and you show up. That's what you do. And that's what you need to do with any kind of goal for your business, for your health. You book it in your calendar and you keep it. You keep your word, you keep your integrity. All right, then you have to decide why you want it. Why is it important? Okay, this is good things to write down, by the way. I hope you have a pen and paper. Why? You know, Simon Sinek talks about the golden circle. Why being the most important? It's the bullseye. It's where we start from. It's our heart center. It's why is this important? How is it going to make you feel? Which values in your life does this goal fulfill? You know, if it's financial freedom, for instance, which is a topic I talk quite a bit about and train a lot on, is if it's financial freedom, it's not really, for most of you, for 80 to 90% of you, it isn't about the money. You don't get motivated by money. You don't get excited about money. You know, making money, if it motivated you, you'd be making a hell of a lot more money, right? So it's not about the money. It's which values in your life does money allow you to fulfill. So if your top value is family, then having financial freedom would allow you to be at home with your children and have 2 stay-at-home parents, or whatever the case might be. You have the freedom to be there for your family, for your parents when they need you, for your, you know, when you need to fly somewhere or travel somewhere because somebody in your family needs you, and you don't have to worry about time and money anymore because you're financially free. So you are fulfilling your top value of family by becoming financially free. That allows you to be more, to do more, to have more. And how does that make you feel? Those are all elements of a very powerful why. So what are your top values? Mine were freedom, integrity, and health. Bar none, freedom was the driving force of everything that I did and decided to do business-wise. If it didn't create freedom, I didn't do it, okay? So I didn't get a job. I started a business, right? And so it's important for you to be really clear on the why, on your values. I have another video, actually, to help you get clear on what your values are and what your compass is for life so that you can be clear as to what your why might be, okay? So now that we know your level of commitment, how much time you're willing to give something, and why you want it, you need to get really specific as to what it is and why, like as in details, like as detailed as possible, okay? So the exact amount of weight you want to lose, the exact amount of money you want to create, and then what that's going to do for you. Is that going to allow you to buy a house? Which house? On what street or in what neighborhood? At what price range, and how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms, and what kind of car and what kind of color is that car? Is it a convertible or not, or whatever the case might be. This is where dream boards come in handy. Dream boards are an amazing way to get visually clear on what you want. If you get really specific with the details and then you put it in your vision every single day, literally visually, is a very powerful way to attract what you want into your life. Align yourself with the vibration of what you want. So the more specific you get on what you want, the faster it will come to you, because you are actually already connected to it. Through the matrix of time and space, which is all just, we're all connected, you're already connected to what you want. And the more specific you get about what it is you want, the more quickly you will find it and you will align with that. It's amazing. Happens to me a lot. Be specific. Get details, all right? By when do you want it? Set a target date. Now this is where people don't like doing it because they're like, oh, pressure. I love pressure. Pressure is important. And maybe I wasn't always that way, but I certainly have learned to be. Pressure is where you grow. If you're not uncomfortable, it's probably because you're not growing. Now, if you're frustrated, that's a little different thing, okay? Uncomfortable is like, I'm moving forward and it's scaring me. Frustrated is when you're not moving forward, but you should be. Two very different things. I'm going to repeat that. Uncomfortable is when you're moving forward and you're scared, but you're moving forward. Frustrated is when you are not moving forward and you know you should be, okay? You're not growing, you're frustrated, okay? Because you're sitting on the fence and a fence up here. I can't believe I just said that on a YouTube video. That's not uncomfortable. It's not comfortable to be sitting on a fence, folks. So of course you're gonna feel uncomfortable. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be resentful. You're gonna look for things to blame. Be honest with yourself. Are you frustrated? Or are you uncomfortable because you're actually doing something? Get clear, because all it takes is taking one action. How exactly are you going to get there? That is another part of your action plan. What are the daily, weekly, monthly steps? If you can't figure it out, if you don't know what your daily, weekly, monthly steps are, have someone help you. Meaning there's somebody who's done what you want to do and they know exactly what those daily, weekly steps are. So that's not an excuse. Get resourceful. Okay, again, the more specific you are, the more likely and faster you are to get to your goal. Most people set a goal, they say, I want this. And that's it. That's all that's ever put out. But if you don't have a plan on what you need to do by when, these go hand in hand. Now, if you set a day and the how, because you have a timeline, ends up being way too overwhelming, push back your day. Push it back a month, 6 months, a year, whatever you got to do until you know you can commit to the how. Or if you love ginormous goals that scare the poop out of you, guess what? Make it scary, because then you'll go to work, okay? It just depends on who you are, right? So you have to decide when you have all these elements, and you can go back to listen to this video and pause and write out each of these elements, right? It's very simple. Why is it important to you? What is it exactly? By when do you want it? And how are you going to get there? Then what you're going to do is write it out into an action plan and goal statement, paragraph by paragraph, and you're going to read that sucker every single day, if not twice a day. Every single day, morning and night. Okay, you just have to ask yourself, if that was too much, oh my gosh, is that too much to do? It is certainly not that important to you. It is definitely not a level 10 kind of commitment. You have to decide whether you're committed or not to what you want. And you either have to decide to commit to it or let it go because it's not that important to you. Okay, or maybe it's not important to you in this moment. Maybe you need to read a book or something, grow your mind, take a course, do something to build that muscle of discipline, build the muscle of, I can do this, right? And when you write this goal statement out, it needs to be present, powerful, positive language, okay? Present meaning like it's already happened. Like, this is my life now. It's now December 2019, we're celebrating Christmas, and it's amazing because we're all in Hawaii. And I have created this, and this, and I have a whatever model body, blah blah blah, whatever it is. That's your want, your goal statement, your action plan, right? So present language, powerful language, positive language. Okay, not I don't want this job anymore. Although irritation and knowing what you don't want is important. So being clear on what you don't want can be a very key piece of the puzzle. We talk about that in our book, Catch Fire, How to Ignite Your Own Economy. 4 steps to change. One of them is irritation. One of them is getting clear on what you are not okay with in your life anymore. Meaning, enough is enough. This is unacceptable. This situation in my life is unacceptable. I am irritated to the point that I'm going to take action. And that, my friends, is ridiculously motivating. So sometimes we numb that out by watching a lot of TV or surfing the internet or looking for Facebook likes. We numb it with little hits of dopamine. All right, that's a whole other video. But nonetheless, get clear on what you're irritated with, because that can be a powerful part of your goal statement if that's what motivates you as well, right? So sometimes it's not the carrot, folks, it's the stick. It's knowing what you don't want. But if you write out these 4 things in a goal statement or a business action plan or a personal action plan, and you read it every single day out loud, you will move closer to your goal. And it will most likely be in the timeline that you set when you do that specific thing. Because if you remind yourself on a daily basis what you need to do and how you're going to get there, guess what? You're far more likely to actually take those actions. So if even your only action right now is to write out this goal statement and is to read it every single day, your life will be drastically different in 1 year's time. Can't wait to hear the stories.